What is going on, college basketball fans? Welcome back to another video. Today, I got some sleeper teams for you guys that I think have a potential to make a deep run in March Madness, maybe even make it to the Final Four. Now, to me, a sleeper team is different than a Cinderella team. A Cinderella team is like a Loyola Chicago type run, a mid-major that you don't really expect, get it all the way to the Final Four. But a sleeper team is not as crazy. All these teams I have here are anywhere from a 7 to an 11 seed, and all but one of them, and another honorable mention, so I guess all but two of them are Power 5 conference teams that I think could make a deep run this year. Now, before we get started, I want you guys to let me know down below in the comment section who is your top sleeper team to make the Final Four right now. And yeah, guys, let's get into this video. So before I give you guys my top 5, I want to mention two honorable mentions that I think do have some potential. The first one being my favorite team, the West Virginia Mountaineers. Right now they are a projected 7 seed. They are coming off of a home loss to Arizona, but they have shown flashes of being a really great team. They control the pace. They play really tough defense. They have an anchor down low in Ardo Andre. They're playing pretty well, but they lack depth. And that is my main concern and why they are not actually in the top 5. If they did have Tucker DeVries and some of these other players that have been in and out with injuries like KG Tenner and an Amani Hansberry and even a Jaden Stone who hasn't played a single game yet this season, but mainly Tucker DeVries, if Tucker DeVries comes back this year, I think West Virginia is going to be a serious problem. And Javon Small is an excellent point guard. I think the most underrated player in the country, and I think he might be the best point guard in the country. Maybe I'm being a little bit biased, but Darren DeVries has put together this team, and in year one, they are clicking amazingly, mainly because of Javon Small. But if they can get Tucker DeVries back and they get this team healthy, have a little bit of depth, they have the type of players that I think can make a run in March Madness. My second honorable mention is going to be the Dayton Flyers, and the reason they are only an honorable mention is because they've had a tough couple of last few games. Ever since they got into A10 play, they have not been playing good, and so they're on a bad run right now, but they are still a projected 11 seed, and they played a strong non-con schedule, so I think they still are going to have potential to get an at-large bid if they don't win this tough A10 conference. The A10 might be a 2 or 3 bid league this year. They have a strong non-con schedule, so that will help them and some pretty good wins. But they have some good guards, between Enoch Cheeks, Malachi Smith, and Posh Alexander. They have some good defenders there, some guys who can hit some shots, and they have some experienced players like Nate Santos, who was a big player for them last year in the tournament. So I think Dayton is a sleeper. I think that they can make a deep run. I don't know about the Final Four with this bad run that they're on right now. I wouldn't pick them to go all the way to the Final Four anymore like I have, a month ago or so whenever I had them in the Final Four in one of my bracket predictions. But I do think they still deserve an honorable mention at this point. Now getting into my top 5 sleepers. Coming in here at number 5, I do have from the Big East, the St. John's Big Red Storm. Now, St. John's, they don't have the best quad 1 record, which is why they're coming in here at number 5. They have had some quad 1 opportunities. They're in the non-conference, like against Georgia and against Baylor, and both of those they ended up losing. And I still think they have some potential to make a run with the right path, though. Their head coach is Rick Pitino. We all know that. They are going to be in the March Madness tournament this year. They are a projected 9 seed. And I think Rick Pitino, we all know he's a legendary head coach. He's got a really good squad. I mean, these 3 guards between Devion Smith, Kaderi Richmond, and RJ Lewis, they are all good playmakers. They can all shot create for themselves, and they can all shot create for their teammates as well. And Zuby Ejiofor has been one of the most improved players from last season. He has been a force down low. He can even kick out and hit a couple of threes for you, which is crazy. Zuby Ejiofor is a super good center, and they're playing amazing. Also, they are number 20, top 20 in the KenPom rankings, which if you guys don't know, KenPom is the advanced analytics rankings that matter a lot in college basketball, so being top 20 in that definitely helps them as well. The thing holding them back a little bit for me, as far as pulling the trigger on them being a team to make a run in March Madness, is that bad Quad 1 record. They might be more of a Sweet 16 type of team. Coming in here at number 4, we have our first team from the Big 12. I guess our second team, because I did mention WVU as an honorable mention, but number 4, we got Texas Tech. And the Red Raiders, I feel like have been a little bit slept on. They took a couple of bad losses early in the year, and they didn't really play that great of a non-con schedule. They took a loss to St. Joseph's, which was pretty tough. And St. Joseph's isn't a horrible team, but that's definitely one the Red Raiders should have had. But they have a really good front court between JT Toppin and Darian Williams. These guys can go and they can get their own buckets. Elijah Hawkins is a smaller guard, but he's been playing really well for them, and Chance McMillan. So some really good guards there as well. And you know Texas Tech is always going to be good on defense. Tomorrow, on Saturday, they do have Iowa State at home. I'm interested to see how they play in that game. That is going to tell me a lot. But right now, they are currently 18th. So they are also a top 20 team in the KenPom rankings. So that is pretty crazy because they are a projected 11 seed at this point. I don't think that they were projected to even make the NCAA tournament until they went on the road and beat BYU and got a really good win. So that helped them a lot. They're a projected 11 seed right now, but top 20 in the KenPom here at number 18. 3, I got one that I think some people can get behind because we've seen it not too long ago, and that is from the Mountain West Conference, San Diego State. San Diego State has been playing pretty well. They impressed me a lot with their win on the road at Boise State. That is a tough place to play. Boise State is a really good team in that conference. They did take a couple of home losses this year to Gonzaga and to Utah State, but those are some good teams, and I think that this is a team that needs to grow. So it is good that they were tested a little bit early by being in an early tournament and getting Gonzaga early in the season. That helps test these guys because they have young players like Miles Byrd, who is a 6'7" sophomore guard who has been very good for them, but he needs to grow, and he will even more over the course of the season as we are just now entering league play. Also, they have some other really good guards like Nick Boyd and BJ Davis. Really good players. I mean, it kind of reminds you of whenever they made it to the national championship. They had a lot of really good guards. The scoring was kind of spread out. All their guards could average 10 points, and it could be anyone on any given night. I don't think they're as good as that team that made it to the national championship game, but I think that there is some potential here. Not to mention, their other player that needs to grow, their freshman, Magoon Guaf. I've been paying very close attention to him as he is a 7-foot center who averages almost 3 blocks a game, is a freshman, and can kick out and knock down some three-pointers for you. I mean, this guy is going to be a problem. I think he's going to be an NBA draft pick. Him and Miles Byrd, honestly, 2 really good young players right here that do need to grow. They're a little bit lower on the KenPom at 31, but that's not terrible. They're a projected 8 seed right now, but we all know Brian Butcher can get it done. He's done it before just a few years ago. And, you know, he's really built back up the San Diego State program to be consistently in the tournament, so it wouldn't surprise me if they can make a run this year. Top 2 are definitely going to be sleepers. These are the definition of sleepers, but I think that they can do it. They have pretty good teams and some underrated teams, in my opinion. And my number 2 team out of the SEC is going to be the Ole Miss Rebels. And Ole Miss, very interesting. They're a projected 7 seed right now. They didn't play too strong of a non-con schedule, but better than they have the past few years, and enough that is going to get them into the March Madness tournament. They're coming off of a win on the road at Arkansas. That is a really good win for them, and we all know they're coached by Chris Beard. I want to see Chris Beard back in the tournament. I know what he did was wrong, but he is a villain of college basketball, really, and I think that he could take this Ole Miss team on a run. I want to see him, and like I mentioned earlier, Rick Pitino with St. John's. I want to see both of them in the tournament again, just to see what happens. And Chris Beard is a good coach. You know, you can hate him for the person that he is and the things he's done, but he is a good basketball coach. And obviously, Ole Miss didn't care about anything else, and they're getting results for it. And this Ole Miss team does have some depth, which I think is going to help them a lot. They have a lot of really good guards, 4 really good guards that, like I kind of mentioned with San Diego State, is kind of spread out with the scoring, and they have guys who can go out and get their own bucket and shot create for their teammates. Their main guard, Sean Padula, He's been there before with Virginia Tech when they went on the run in the ACC tournament and got a bid steal and made it to the March Madness tournament. Sean Padula has been there before. He has experience, and he's a senior. He's been playing really well for Ole Miss this year. Also, Matthew Morrell, also Dre Davis, and Jalen Murray. 4 really good guards where the scoring is kind of spread out. And they also have Malik Dia, who I believe his three-point shot is going to be an X factor for this Ole Miss team. If he can start knocking down threes consistently, and they have some pretty good front court players as well who can guard the rim, this Ole Miss team could be scary. They have some good depth, like I did mention before, and with these senior guards, I think that they could definitely be a real contender to make a run in March Madness. They come in here at number 23 on the KenPom rankings, projected 7 seed right now, and my number 2 sleeper. My number 1 sleeper is going to be Arizona, and Arizona had a really, really tough start, which is why they are only a projected 11 seed at this point in the season, and one of the last teams to get into the tournament at this point. And they are coming off of a really good road trip, though. 2-0 on the road to the East Coast, at Cincinnati and at West Virginia. Those are 2 very good wins against teams that will probably be in the tournament and will be quad 1 wins. 3-0 in Big 12 play up to this point in the season, so they're starting to get hot. And I think that they have a pretty good team that just got off to a really rough start. Number 13 in the KenPom rankings. Pretty crazy for the start that they have had to the season so far. To be number 13 in the KenPom, there is something there with their offensive efficiency and their defensive efficiency. They are a well put together team. They can shoot the 3 ball. And I think they are a team that can make a run, but is going to be determined on some X factor players, and the main one being KJ Lewis. I think KJ Lewis might be the best player on this Arizona team. The way that he was playing against West Virginia on the road, he could not miss. He was knocking down threes. He was getting a bucket anytime he wanted. He was playing outstanding. I'm not saying he has to shoot, 70% from the field every game like he did in that one, but if he can be their main guy, I think that might be the best for Arizona. I do think Caleb Love is a really good player, but I think he's more of, a spot-up shooter. He can shoot off shot creating and off the dribble. That's fine sometimes, but we don't need that, every possession. I think KJ Lewis and Jaden Bradley are going to be the guys that need the ball in their hands more often, and Caleb Love to kind of play more of an off-ball type of role and just keep the isolations, for occasional times for Arizona, because I definitely don't think Caleb Love needs to be isolating all the time. That is where you can get yourself in trouble. But also Anthony Del Orso, very good shooter for them that is only improving, and if he can consistently knock down, close to 40% from 3, that is going to be huge for them. And they got Trey Townsend down low, who has some experience in March Madness because he was on Oakland last year, and was the main reason why they were able to make it to the round of 32 and almost knock off NC State in overtime, who NC State went on to make it to the Final Four. So Trey Townsend has some March Madness experience as an underdog team, and they're projecting an 11 seed right now. I think they're only going to go up in seeding as the season goes on because they are picking up some steam right now, but they are my number 1 sleeper right now, is the Arizona Wildcats. So let me know what you guys think about my top 5 and my honorable mentions down below in the comment section, and let me know who you guys think is your biggest sleeper to make the Final Four or just go on a deep run in March Madness down below in the comment section. Also, make sure you guys subscribe if you guys have not already. We do a ton of college basketball content here on the channel. You don't want to miss it. And yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching.